mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacu. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0722 mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0788 mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.
Thank you very much. Most welcome to Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI Emeru Intwari TVET School. I'm Wagasana Jeremy, trainer from Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI, as I have said previously, in trades, construction, sub-trade, masonry. So now we are going to share the module called Steel Bars Work, RTKF Level 4. Topic of today is about cutting and bending steel bars for footing. Yesterday we have discussed about cutting and bending steel bars, especially for column. That's why now we are going to discuss about cutting, bending steel bars for footing. Of course, it is some objectives. Objectives, of course, any courses should have objectives. At the end of these modules, a runner should be able, of course, to know how to bend the steel bars related with footing. Now, let's start with PPE to be used in steel bars work. We have protective grooves. Of course, those are grooves protecting our hand while we're working with steel bars. Then hearing protection, just a protection of the ear, just to protect from the noise. Then full face shield when cutting and grinding ships. Of course, those are also protection which protects our face. And chemical splash goggles and respiratory protection. Those are a mask that we are putting in respiratory organs in order just to prevent our respiration. Then for protection equipment when working with steel bars. Now, let's selection and use of tools and equipment for steel bars work. After just protecting our body, of course, now let's enter to the work to select the materials to be used, materials or equipment to be used while we are bending and cutting the steel bars, especially to be used for the footing. Then the selection of tools. Let's start with classification of tools and equipment for steel bars work. It is what we call straightening tools and equipment. Those are the tools we are using just to straight the rebars we are using, or reinforcement we are using in construction. It is what we call hammer, straightening machine. It is the machine we are using to straight it, and measuring tools. The measuring tools such as tape measures, steel rules, and vernier caliper, cutting tools and equipment. It is chisels, vice, pliers, and pincers. Hacksaw, cutting machine, bending tools, equipments, bending machine, and bend bars. Now, it is the images of different materials I have said. These are tape measures, decameters, those are there. Those are the materials we are using in order to take a certain measurement. Now, that figure we are seeing there on the projector is what we call a vernier caliper. The vernier caliper is used, of course, to take a measurement of a small thing, where you can't just measure by using tape measure and other measurement tools. It's called vernier caliper. Different types of steel bars. Here in Rwanda, we are using two types of steel bars. It is what we call mid steel bars and deformed steel bars, or twisted steel bars. Mid steel bars, those are the steel bars at the last surface it is smooth. Whether this deformed steel bars, it is the bars we are using. Of course, at the last surface it is somehow twisted. Then, types of steel bars we are using. This mid steel, I have said that mid steel bars are used for a tensile stress of the RCC, reinforced cement concrete, slabs, beams, etc. is where we are using these mid steel bars. We are using them especially for a reinforced cement concrete, this one RCC, and slab, beams, and etc. Once we are saying slabs, it is like a pavement of the multi-story buildings. And the beams, of course, the beams that is an horizontal members of the structure designed just to support the structure from the slab and the load from up the beam. Then let's go to the desired, to the size of reinforcement we have found at the Rwandan market. At the Rwandan market, we are seeing different sizes such as 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14, 16, 18, 20, and 25, 32, and 40. Those are the size of reinforcement we are seeing here in Rwanda at the Rwandan markets. Now, the types of steel I told you recently, it is these types of steel bars. This one, those are what we call a twisted, and at the side, the last side is what we call mid steel reinforcement. Now, those are the images of the people who are bending reinforcement. Method of bending reinforcement. The method of bending reinforcement, it is done in two ways. The first is by machine. The second one is by hand, where it is made man-made, I mean. Now, by machine, it is done by those people by using that bending machine. Where by hand, by using what we call bender bars. Bender bars and hacksaw, as you have seen in types of materials to be used. Then, now, let's go on. Also, those are the size of reinforcement found at one market and their unit weight. The unit weight of those reinforcement. For six reinforcement, it has unit weight of 0.022 kilogram per meter. Where 10, it is 610 kilogram per meter. Whether for 10 reinforcement size, it is 0.617. Where for the steel of size 16, unit weight is that one. Also for 20, the unit weight is 2.469. Whether for 25 is 3.858. For 32 is 6.31. Now let's go on terminologies used in steel bending and cutting steel bars. Terminologies used. Here you are seeing the images. That images is, those are just combining together, assembling together the two reinforcement. This one is what we call overlaps. Overlaps. What does it mean really, overlaps? Overlaps means now is just increasing the length of steel bars in length once your reinforcement is not enough to reach at the desired length you want. Now is what we call overlapping. The second one is what we call cover. That is said to be cover. Suppose, let me give you an example here. Is said to be cover. It is the thickness of concrete from main reinforcement up to the last surface of what? Of the structure. To mean that it is the thickness of concrete after reinforcement up to the last surface of what? Of the structure is what we call cover. And what we call steel-ups. Steel-ups. What is it really, a steel-ups? It is called steel-ups or shear reinforcement. Why do we call it shear reinforcement? Because it resists to the shear force. to mean it resists to the force which tends just to cut it into two pieces. So stirrups, it is this one. For this sketch I've tried to draw on the board. This is what we call stirrups. It is used just to connect together the main reinforcement and what? The main reinforcement and the main reinforcement, to join it together, main reinforcement. What is it really, main reinforcement? Now, main reinforcement. The main reinforcement, those are the reinforcement we are using along the structure. We are using those are the reinforcement we are using along the structure. For example, for this column, I tried to use this one and this one and this one. Those are the main one. Those are the main reinforcement. Among those main reinforcement, also it is what we call distribution or tension reinforcement. Tension reinforcement and compression reinforcement. For this tension reinforcement, those are the reinforcement which is ready to receive the tensile stress. Whether for this one, compression reinforcement, those are the steel bars which is ready to receive the compression force. I hope you understand the difference between this tensile reinforcement and compression reinforcement. For example, if the structure is now horizontally, to mean for those, this one at the top, those are what we call compression reinforcement. Whether for this one and this one at the bottom is called tensile reinforcement. You know, instead of reinforcing at the top, of course, more reinforcing at the bottom, because the structure is ready to broken down at the bottom. Now, let's go on what we call the stool. What is it really, the stool? The stool also is a reinforcement that we are putting inside the two, between the two meshes, two bottom meshes and at the top meshes. The reinforcement we are putting together to combine them together is called stool. Just we are tying together that reinforcement we are putting together to combine the top meshes and the bottom meshes is called the stool. When do we use these two or these two meshes? The bottom meshes and the top meshes. We are using them. It depends on the importance of what? Of structure. Or it depends on the behavior of soil. Since the soil is weak, automatically also you will double your structure. At the top meshes and bottom meshes. So the reinforcement you are putting together between those two meshes is called stool. Now, this is the images of steel bars work, where they are putting the stool there between the top meshes and the bottom meshes. So let's stop by here and we go to the practice to see the difference between steel bars work, cutting and bending steel bars work for the footing, and cutting and bending steel bars or with the column. I hope so. Yesterday we have discussed about how cutting and bending steel bars, but for the column. Today is about footing. What is it really footing? Footing is like a foundation of column which is made in reinforced concrete. So is what we are going to see there. I would like to register my sincere thanks to those who have just followed me in this session. Thank you very much. Let's go to the practice a little bit and see more. Thank you very much. We were in theory. Now in practice, we are going to see how to bend the steel reinforcement related with the footing. As I have said, you may just bending the reinforcement in two ways. By using hands, where we are using bender bars, this one, and by using machine where we are using this one, bending machine. So, but for us, we prefer to use this machine because it is more accurate, more than using hand. Then, so we are using this machine to make hooks, whether for making the stirrups like this one, the stirrups like this one, it is done by hand, this one. But for making those hooks, it is better to use the machine because sometimes you may just bend the reinforcement sized around 25. It is somehow hard. So to use them, to bend them by using hand is somehow difficult. So better to use bending machine. So today, let us try to bend those reinforcement of footing. Just in tying them together, of course, you need tying them by making 8 in order just to tie them together as it is expected, is where your reinforcement is more hard, so that it can't be destroyed apart. This one I'm using is called the pliers. It is oftenly used at the site, where this one is called, those are called wires. I record them, just tying them together. Now, this is the meshes used for the column. And I told you, once the soil is completely weak, of course, we are obliged to use doubly. These meshes should be the bottom meshes, this one, the bottom meshes, and the top meshes. So to combine them together is where we are using what we call the stool. To combine these meshes and the second one is where we are obliged to put the stool between those two meshes. So after that, we are putting this column reinforcement it is done like this in order to prevent the settlement of your structure. So for the practice of today, it was just to see. The previous session was just bending the steel bars for the column. For today, it is about this one. This one for the footing. So next time, we will see how to make the formwork of those structures we have seen. So before closing the session, remember the objectives. The objectives was just to bend clearly the steel bars of what? The steel bars of footing. I hope for those who have just followed as well as it is expected, of course, you have achieved the objectives. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacu. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788366219 cyangwa se 0722356668. Mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788366213 cyangwa se 0788202285. Mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. Umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.